Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and The War Within has officially launched worldwide. Not just during the early access, but now everybody else has access to this expansion in the first chapter of the World Soul Saga. And as you're leveling through the expansion, going through the main storylines, exploring all of the zones, finding various treasures and slaying rares, eventually you're going to hit max level. And the question is, what do you even do once you hit max level? Because seasonal content isn't here just yet, so what should you be doing immediately as soon as you reach max level? And this video will go over some of my advice on what I think everybody should be doing once you reach level 80 with your very first character. As always, if you guys want to see more War Within updates such as these, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. Otherwise, let's dive into a to-do list for the War Within expansion. So now that you've done leveling your very first character for the War Within, you should probably level another. And I'm not even joking. I know that the experience the first time you level may seem slow, but it only gets faster and faster, as War Within is promised to be one of the more alt-friendly expansions, and they've said that in the previous expansions, but this time it feels like they actually learned some of those lessons from before. The warband system has been an absolute game changer when it comes to managing alts. Not only does it bring a lot of conveniences, but with the War Within, now that we get into level 80, there's even other benefits, such as whenever you get a character to max level, in essence they become a mentor to the rest of the warband, which means gameplay wise you gain 5% experience for all future characters for having a max level character. And this experience can actually stack. This 5% bonus stacks up to a maximum of 25%, which encourages and rewards for players for leveling new characters, and especially with so many different class changes and so many hero specs, like there's multiple reasons why you'd want to play alts, especially if you're still on the fence, not exactly sure which class you're going to settle on and main for this expansion. Plus, leveling new alts is incredibly quick. Not only do you get big XP bonuses, but also leveling characters at the start from 70 to 80. Early on, you can level through dungeons, and dungeons are incredibly quick because of like Shadowlands S tuning and scaling, where low level players that don't really need as much gear because they just are given a ton of extra damage, making characters feel absolutely overpowered within 5-min content. As you get higher levels, it does end up normalizing because everything is scaled for level 80 content with gear involved anyway, but early on it is super fast. If you could get dungeons down to 5 minutes, it is incredibly quick, letting players get to max level in a handful of hours. Now, another thing you should probably do is familiarize yourself with some of the open world content of the War Within, as this expansion is meant to be one of the ones that benefits and invests a lot into the open world to make sure that it stays active and exciting to interact with. Like every single one of the zones, besides for Ashkahed, although that may be added later, has a special event behind it. Like Isle Adorn has the Theater of Troupe, where you get to show off some of the acting skills. It's very much similar in the same vein where you get to do a bunch of tasks, something you would see maybe with like Time Rifts in Taldraz's, but adjusted to be this theater performance of the Earthern. Over in the Ringing Deeps, we actually have a couple of activities from the Awakening the Machine event, where you'll be able to help Kuldas do a bit of that routine maintenance. But then there's also the Kobold type of experience where you have to find and gather wax all over the open world, which can also give you a bunch of benefits. And then we have Hollowfall, which has the Spreading the Light event, where you go to these places and putting these crystals to relight the zone. And when the zone is lit, there's extra objectives within the zone, and there's mini lights with mini objectives and whatnot. And there's even a special bonus for having all of them lit at the same time. So it's a very integrated and very active open world experience that rewards players for participating in all of these different formats. Plus, there's even a new form of open world quest that is available that I won't see on this character, but on my alts I will, which are called special assignments. Once you complete 3 open world quests in a zone, you'll be able to unlock a special assignment of that zone. And they're basically kind of like a mega world quest that involves players grouping up together and accomplishing a bunch of different tasks. But these also reward you with a ton of different goodies, such as the first 2 of these special events will award you with adventure gear, so it's great starter items, but also the first 4 will award you with coffer keys that are used to get you better gear from the devs. So they're part of that open world and end game progression system. Speaking of delves, you should definitely dive into some of the delves to familiarize yourself with some of the different environments that they offer, as well as some of the mechanics you may also see, but also you should level up Bran. Bran will be the Season 1 delve companion, who can either heal for your group or you can DPS for your group, and he comes with a variety of different abilities and relics that can further customize him, but working on those customizations and leveling up Bran right now allows him to actually grow in power in preparation for the Season 1 of delves. Right now, Bran's level cap is 15, so you should only try to level him up to level 15, but Bran's level cap will be raised as the season actually goes on, and also ults as well as your main character all share Bran progression, so you can do a bit of leveling of Bran on your main, then hop on an ult, do a couple of delves, and you continue to level Bran on that character without having to re-level him all over again. Now, another thing you should work on is your renown. Renown is still going to be kind of linked to a lot of some of the core aspects of the game. Like, for example, if you want to see more of the story chapters, you'll need to actually rank up renown for your different factions up until renown for minimum. But you can still continue to work on it afterwards because there's a bunch of different goodies that are awarded for gaining additional reputation with these factions. Things such as opportunities for your players to be able to get some veteran gear, or at least decent starting gear before the seasonal content fully begins, but also an opportunity for faction cosmetics with Council of Dornagal, the Arathi, as well as the Assembler of Deeps, and even Severed Threads having their own unique customization options, as well as other collectibles such as mounts, pets, and more. But also there's profession bonuses that you can unlock and progress towards. If you're somebody who is thinking of heavily investing into professions, then Renown and these factions will actually be able to offer you certain recipes or certain benefits towards your different professions. And the easiest ways to work on your Renown is to first complete the main story quest, which will actually start awarding your Renown while you're leveling your character. So you'll actually be able to make quite a bit of progress just by playing the game the first time around. But also side quests is a fantastic opportunity for Renown. They're very rewarding when it comes to some of the cosmetics as well as the gear, especially if you do them at max level, but the Renown for completing a full quest chain is excellent this time around. Now, another thing you should start doing right now also, if you're planning to PvP in this expansion, is to farm up some honor. Right now, honor does have a bit of a cap of 4,000 to make sure the players don't really get too much headway, at least in the early access, but once the vendors actually have some PvP gear, this will be a good opportunity for you to farm up some honor as soon as possible in order to be able to buy the honor gear as soon as it becomes available. The same goes for the bloody tokens and the way that they adjusted the gear. Basically, the changes are bloody tokens are going to be treated equivalent to conquest points, but a lot of the open world gear you'll be able to get from open world PvP activities. So definitely turn on your war mode and start doing some of those quests as early as possible. Another thing you should work on is on your professions, whether you're trying to go for gathering professions or crafting professions, or a mix of both. Maybe have one character be your herbalist and miner, while another character will be the alchemist, and the third character will be a blacksmith, and you'll be able to share all of those resources thanks to the Warbound banking system. But professions are going to be huge, especially if you want to try to get them going before season 1 begins. Trying to level them up and get all of your different skills and specialization points all allocated appropriately to figure out what kind of a build you want to run or what kind of a profession type you want to spec into, whether you want to be an enchanter for weapons or enchanter for rings as well as chest armor pieces, or completely other option like maybe you want to make a bunch of toys and cosmetics and all these other cool things that players will want to buy once they hit max level. There's a lot of different ways for you to customize what type of professions you want to get. Eventually, you'll have enough points to unlock all aspects of professions, but early on, you'll only have a limited amount of points to invest into only certain key elements. And before the season 1 begins, you might as well do a bit of mount farming while you're at it, because in season 1 we're all going to be very busy with endgame content, whether you're planning to dive into delves, mythic plus, PvP, or raiding. But mounts can take a bit of a grind, especially like the one I'm currently riding on right now. This one took me a little bit of time, and I feel like I wouldn't have had as much time as I would during season 1 to farm this thing out. But doing some of this farming and get all your mounts early on during the very beginning of the expansion before seasonal content is here might also be another great way to pass some time. While we're on the topic of mounts, we could also talk about the Pathfinder achievement. I mean, you're going to be playing the new expansion and you're going to try to explore all of the zones, whether you want to do it for different achievements or different rewards, or trying to find all of the different collectibles or treasures all over the place, you will evidently at some point work on the Pathfinder achievement, whether you like it or not, just through that raw exploration. And Pathfinder is earnable really early on in this expansion. For example, if you're not a big fan of the skywriting and the dynamic flying system and would rather regain the original flying methods, you could do that immediately at the start of an expansion. You don't have to wait until the final or second to final patch of an expansion to get normal flying back. You could immediately get it right now. You'll have to fly around with dynamic flying while you're questing out in the open world, but as soon as you hit max level, then explore all the zones, do all the different quest lines, and unlock normal flying immediately. And with that, that's going to be my personal suggestion of everything you should do once you hit max level in the War Within expansion. But also, welcome to everybody who's finally getting a chance to play this expansion that is now officially has launched as of yesterday by the time you're watching this video. But with that, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching this video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very, very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community, especially if you have any questions regarding anything for War Within. Either somebody in the community might be able to answer your question, or I may, or somebody might be able to point you in the right direction at the very least. So definitely join our Discord community for any questions that you want answered. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one.